Well, what is going on, everybody? Welcome everybody into the Overreaction Buffalo Sports Show on the Overreaction Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. My name is Joe Miller, and you can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired, alongside my two co-hosts, former Buffalo Bills, John Fina and Jerry Ostrowski. And you can find them on Twitter at John Fina and at Ostrowski_Big O, respectively, on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Please do us a favor. Please like, please subscribe, whatever platform you are consuming this production on, whether it's live right now on YouTube or in post as a podcast. Do us that favor of liking and subscribing, leaving a comment, a review, send it to a friend, all that good stuff. But it's so good to have everybody joining us in the comment section right now. Welcome to those of you that are on YouTube. And if you listen exclusively on a podcast and you have not joined us live yet on YouTube, please feel free to do so this week. The season's starting to heat up. We're starting to get the shows back aligned. We've got this show tonight. We've got the Off Tackle with John Fina show. Then we've got On the Beat, then the Big O show. And we've got more shows coming at you. Don't be afraid to join us live. But what do we want to talk about? 39,000 Bills Mafia showed up for the annual Red versus Blue game in Orchard Park this past Friday, and we have some things to chat about. But before we do that, gentlemen, how are you guys feeling? Jerry, how you doing today?
Doing good, man. I'm tired. Been practicing too much golf. Been playing too much golf.
Yeah.
Trying to get prepared for this week. And when you do that, you make a lot of swings. You get a lot tired. So we're doing good though, man. I'm doing well.
Very good, John Fina.
Jerry, I'll bring you some ibuprofen, man. You got to take it like the night before at the turn, and you're going to be golden. And you mix that with some of your, what's that cocktail you've been feeding Joe and I? That thing? Transfusion. There we go. I'm going to leave, guy. I just pounded 4 of those a little bit ago. So I'm feeling good. Maybe my kidneys aren't, but I feel great.
I'm a double tequila transfusion kind of guy.
Oh, Lord. This is going to be a disaster.
You know what? Off script and totally sideways, but I don't know why, but Richard Rush is responding to somebody. Yes, happy 100th birthday, Marv Levy. So Marv Levy, and this is totally off the cuff, Marv Levy turned 100 years old, which all of Bills Mafia knows. Krista Kimmick and Vince ended up on TV during the Hall of Fame ceremony as they were honoring Marv this weekend. But before we go any further, for Marv's 100th birthday, you both played for Marv for many years. Real quick, John, put you on the spot. Jerry, I'm going to do it to you, but I'm going to let John go first. Greatest single memory you have of Marv, coached on the field, not on the field, practice session, wherever, at dinner, I don't even care where. Your best memory of Marv Levy.
So, I mean, every interaction with Marv was great. He was such a genuine guy, really great listener, great conversationalist. He wasn't always looking over your shoulder, trying to go see somebody more important. But I remember once coming back from minicamp, and a lot of my college buddies were all from Chicago. And he comes over to me in the locker room and he says, I live in Chicago, John. And I'm like, yeah, of course, coach. He's like, a lot of people come up to me on the street and say hello. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, you're a pretty famous guy, Marv. And he says, yeah, but I'd say in the past month, I've had 5 people come up, tap me on the shoulder and say, are you Marv Levy? And he says, yes. And they said, say hello to Fina for me, will you? And Marv was like, yeah, so you got a bunch of guys wandering the streets of Chicago who are friends of yours and fans. So it was just really funny that he came over, and his delivery, and I can't mimic it because Marv just had that perfect kind of stand-up, dry sense of humor delivery, and the punchline just slaps.
Jerry, your turn.
My favorite things about Marv, and it revolved around pregame speeches. Marv was the master of the pregame speech. I talked about one of them. Tim Graham had an article about Marv and asked me some questions and talked about the I don't know if John remembers this one. We had Jim Kelly, like the big 4, like 3 of the big 4 were out. We were decimated injury-wise, and he gives us a speech about the origin and the meaning of the term coming in on a wing and a prayer. And the whole thing revolves around the World War II bomber pilots, and the movie Memphis Belle is basically based upon this premise, where bomber pilots had so many missions they were supposed to fly. If they flew X amount of missions without getting shot down, they would get to go home. They would be relieved of duty and they'd get to go home. Well, the Memphis Belle obviously is about that story. And they would radio the plane. They go, give us your status. And when they were all shot up or whatever, they would use the term, we're coming in on a wing and a prayer. And Marv gave the whole story about that and how, related it to the team and the injury situation we were in. And then at the end of the speech, he had contacted like the local Buffalo, like 11:35 a.m., right? We play the old oldies, right? And there was a recording of a song from like 1948 called Coming In on a Wing and a Prayer. Marv goes down there, contacts him. They find it and record it for him, and he plays it for us at the end of the speech. And it's just like, and we all know the master's degree from Harvard, and he was a historian in World War I because his father was in the Battle of Belleau Wood and was in World War I, and how he felt about the military stuff and all that. But just around that and probably, John, the greatest speech of all time, the Churchill speech, never give up in Miami. And when he started quoting it, that we shall not fall into this abyss. And then he goes, and he looked at a certain person in the room who I will not mention who it is, but if you asked him, he would probably tell it. He goes, so we shall not fall into this abyss, and pointed at this person. He goes, that means deep, dark, black hole. And of course, the offensive line section of the room was falling on the floor, laughing our ass off. While everybody else was like, oh, okay. But yeah, my major thing about Marv was the pregame speeches were masterful.
That's awesome.
I got another quick one.
right.
My neighbor about 4 houses down, great couple, and Katie says, "Hey, I want to show you something. My grandfather was over the other day, and he left his college yearbook here because he wanted me to show you this." And she flips the pages and she just goes, "You recognize that guy? One of Marv Levy's first coaching jobs was at the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque." And you look at this photo of Marv, and it looks like it could be taken yesterday. I mean, the guy is timeless, right? And Jerry, he's wearing like the first version of those old Champion gray, sandpaper sweatsuits. I mean, the guy's been everywhere. He's unbelievable.
Speaking of everywhere, I have a couple short ones. It was 1993 or 94, 93, I think, maybe 94. I'm working at Tops in McKinley, or on McKinley right there, where Seven Corners used to be. It's no longer Seven Corners. Now it's down to 4. But I was working in the produce section about 5:45 in the morning, and I don't remember what I was doing, and I stand up and I turn around and Marv Levy's standing next to me, and I was like, holy smokes. And he goes, do you have any fresh blueberries? I'm like, right away, sir. And I ran and got him some fresh, like just out of the blue, 5:45 in the morning.
Is the corner formerly known as Seven Corners down there where they're putting the new Dinosaur barbecue?
Yes, Dinosaur is being moved down to Seven Corners. And then one other time Marv used to walk all over the place, and he lived in Hamburg, and I'm not necessarily sure how much of that people know that he always tried to stay in shape, obviously. And one time I'm out on my dad's front porch off of Amsdale Road, and Marv Levy's walking around the neighborhood, and I'm just like, I'm like, Dad, like, Marv Levy, like, it was just walking down the side.
Joe, you were so insensitive, you called in a silver alert.
Yeah. But that's what makes Buffalo awesome. That's what makes it awesome to live there and play there. That you can be the head coach of the NFL franchise,
right,
and walk down streets and you're perfectly fine.
Just absolutely normal, just walking through a neighborhood. I was like, holy smokes. But yeah, so those are my 2 Marv Levy stories. But happy birthday, Marv, from all of us here at Overreaction, from me, from John, from Jerry. 100 years. Holy smokes. Like 100 years. That's hard to believe. Let's see. So what do we want to talk about? So the Buffalo Bills had a live practice in front of the fans, and 39,000 people. That's pretty incredible. I can't imagine you guys ever packed 39,000 people into Fredonia down there when you were there. And
I don't know if they had 39,000 people in the town of Fredonia.
They probably still don't.
Hey, we had some practices where the people surrounding both or 3 fields were 5 and 10 deep.
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
It was insane. We'd get close to 15 to 20,000 a day easy.
Wow.
Buses coming down. It was incredible.
Nice, very good. So Unfortunately, in this practice, Josh Allen took some 7-on-7 stuff, but didn't actually do team drills. And then Khalil Shakir gets hurt. He's got a high ankle sprain. And then James Cook was not on the injury list coming off of that, but then on Sunday did not practice and was on the warm-ups. Jerry, what news do we have about both of those gentlemen?
Well, the thing about James Cook, when asked why he was not practicing, he used the same term over and over again: business. I'm standing on business. So don't know if he was in contact with Micah Parsons or not, and they decided to trade notes. But James Cook, obviously not practicing, a hold in, I guess they call it nowadays.
So it's official?
Yes, it has been made official. It was said, when they asked James Cook why he did not practice, he said it was business. So, there's a lot of theories out there. Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network, he says that both sides have been engaged in talks quite a while, and they are not that far apart. So whether this was advice from his agent saying, hey, since we are this close, you need to not practice in case of getting hurt, or those types of things. But, if you remember the NFL owners meetings, Brandon Beane said at that time it was shut off. We'll look at it at the end of the season. And now all of a sudden talks have been ongoing. Like I said, Pelissero says that they are close. Now, what does close mean? Saquon Barkley makes $20.6 million per season. Christian McCaffrey makes $19 million a season. Derrick Henry makes $15 a season. They're the only running backs making at least that much per season. So that leads me to this, gentleman. Is James Cook, and I think we've had this conversation many, many, many times. So it's kind of like beating a dead horse. But, I, for one, don't believe he's worth $15 million. Now, there's some other things you can look at, too, with this. Micah Parsons put out a list of 4 teams that he would go to. One of the teams that he put on that list was the Buffalo Bills.
That's right.
Was tweeting out a bunch of pro Josh Allen stuff yesterday all throughout the day. But
he did that. Didn't he do that interview with Von Miller as well, wanting a Josh Allen jersey? And Von's like, it's on the way.
Yep, he did that with Von Miller as well. So I will say this. You have to, the lesser of two evils. What do you want? But I know Dallas desperately needs a top quality running back. So,
there's a lot of give from the Bills to Dallas to make that trade, and I don't know.
What's the give? Seriously. Think about it. What's the give?
It's not going to be a 1-to-1 trade.
If you give Cook and say you move in AJ Epinesa or somebody of that nature to fill then the void that Micah Parsons leaves, obviously not the same player, but you're going to have to give them somebody from. And the other thing is on the Bills side of it. They can't stack another defensive end in there. They would have too many.
Yeah,
they got to move somebody. If you remove Cook and maybe an AJ Epinesa and package somebody else, is there a veteran? The bad thing is that Curtis Samuel's hurt.
Right.
To me, that would be a guy that you could do. And we're going to talk about this Wednesday on the Big O Show. Greg Thompson's going to be my guest. We're going to talk about all these different scenarios, but it can be done. This trade can be done.
It can be done. You didn't give us a chance to comment a little earlier, Jerry. Shame on you. But So James
normally
Cook
you just butt the hell in. So
I don't. Joe does. I don't do that. Joe does that.
I figured.
Why am I catching strays?
I just talk until you butt in. So go ahead, please, John. Please.
Well, a lot of people I saw, commentary about, James back to his old chicanery, back to his old tricks. I think the important thing to remember is that he showed up fit, he showed up ready, and he performed extremely well during camp. So if you take that into consideration and they're close, I'm okay with him taking off, a couple of practices, what have you. We've had vet rest days. Every time you turn around, there's a vet on the sideline, walking around. So that doesn't hurt my feelings at all. And I hope it's true. I hope it's just a function of, we just got, a couple of commas and periods and a couple decimal points to move around a little bit and we're good to go. So, this isn't something I think should be hair raising. And we still have, the Buffalo Bills still have the leverage. So it's not a big issue. Now, you bring in this concept of a trade. What can we package up to deliver over to Dallas? And I am not cap knowledgeable enough to know exactly how that would affect us. But I mean, we'd have to rework probably 3 or 4 other guys just to make room for Micah Parsons, wouldn't we?
Yeah, well, the interesting thing, and I agree with you 100%, John. I'm not butthurt by this. With James Cook doing what he's doing, that's part of negotiations as a player. If they are that close,
I just wish he would expound on it a little bit more and just say, "Oh, it's just business."
Well, that's a Marshawn Lynch thing. If you remember, Marshawn Lynch used to do the same thing. I mean, certain positions follow certain codes, I guess. But anyway, if you look at this whole thing, you're right. There does need to be a lot done, and there are easy to redo contracts on this roster that would provide a lot of room. One of them is Deion Dawkins. I mean, that's right off the bat. But the thing is if they do get Cook signed and maybe he gets closer to 15 than we think he'll get, now there's this domino effect, and it starts affecting other people. And I would have to think, they're going to redo Deion at some point to make some cap. They got to do that anyway going into the season because of injuries and the practice squad and those types of things. But when you look at this, where's the domino effect? They're going to sign O'Cyrus Torrence. They are going to sign him. But now all of a sudden, if Cook gets closer to what he wants, you're going to sign O'Cyrus Torrence, and then McGovern probably becomes expendable. So you're 100% right, John. These things can get done, and they will get done. But then how does that domino down to other positions in other areas?
It's interesting because and I know maybe the Bills have done it or are doing it to themselves, being the good steward. All of these, so many players get done before they enter their final year of their contract. We saw a bunch of them this year. And then all of a sudden, other players decide, well, I want to get done before the final year of my contract too. I don't know that necessarily is how this works. Like, I don't think you guys lived in that day of age. It's like, well, you have a contract, go play. As it pertains to this situation, if they pay more than 12.5 for James Cook, there's a problem, in my opinion. Like especially right now. Like if he goes out and does it again this year, you're probably talking 15, right? $16 million at the end of this season. If he goes out and has a season like he did last year. On the Micah Parsons side, former SB Nation Buffalo Rumblings guy Anthony Marino, who had a podcast with them, and I think now is writing for Buffalo Rumblings, he put out, how many first round picks would you give up to effectively get Micah Parsons? And I said, yes, that's the answer. Like, for all intents and purposes, as many as it's going to take to get him in Buffalo. Now, obviously, I was being somewhat facetious about that, Jerry. However, there's some comments in the comment section right now as it pertains to just this idea of a trade. Steve Noble, Cook, Groot, and a first. And while like this to me gets it done, although it leaves a huge void, not a huge void, it leaves a decent sized void for the Buffalo Bills at running back. It might be too much, but to me, you've got to move a defensive end. You said it, right? You're bringing him in. So it's going to be Joey Bosa or Groot. I don't think they're going to take AJ Epinesa. Maybe they would, or Epinesa and another player, but Cook, Groot first, for Parsons. There was another one here that I saw. I can't remember where it was. There was another somebody else had put a post in here as well. They may have retracted it just as far as just of what it might take to bring him in as far as just another trade idea. But anyways, it doesn't necessarily matter. Micah Parsons is that guy that puts your defense in a situation with that back end that they've already got established and that linebacker core. I mean, it's Super Bowl or bust at that point.
Let me ask you this though, and before we go any further with the hypotheticals, I agree with Sal. Parsons ain't going anywhere. Okay, true. The one thing that Parsons did that you need to do when you negotiate with Jerry Jones is you shame him in public and make it seem like Jerry can't get something done, and Jerry will get it done.
Right.
So Micah, I don't believe is going anywhere. Probably the conversational piece really of importance is this Cook situation. But since we're on the Parsons thing, I did bring it up, and we'll continue to talk about it. One thing I will say is this: where does he fit in our defense? Okay, because of how we play our defensive ends. All right. Are we going to pay Micah Parsons $35 to $40 million a year to be a pass rush guy? No, you're not. Are you going to bring him in and let him be a hybrid where he plays linebacker and then goes down and plays defensive end in pass rush situations? Don't know, because you've got no huddle. You can't substitute during no huddle. The only time you can is when the offense substitutes. So to be able to run guys on and off the field, all right. We've got a lot of reports out of St. John Fisher in training camp that the Bills are running a boatload of 5- and 6-man pressures right now, and that they're bringing linemen or linebackers, they're bringing safeties, they're bringing corners, they're moving linemen all over the place. They're utilizing their athletic ability, that stuff up front. But really, when you look at this, honestly, and I know Micah Parsons, when right, is a generational player.
Mm-hmm.
How does he fit in a defense where we want our defensive ends to be longer, bigger, and compression-style pass rushers? Micah Parsons is not a compression-style pass rusher. He's a two-way go guy.
And exactly. To add to that, I think it's a disruption. I think if you have a plan right now, like Jerry was talking about, bringing secondary, bringing linebackers, and working on 5-man pressure type packages, and you bring somebody like this in, you're going backwards. You're learning, you're disrupting a room, you're looking at relationships. And I also think Jerry Jones gets the deal done. It's fun to talk about, but I don't see it happening.
I think Jerry Jones gets the deal done as well, but I don't understand how, to me, it's a disruption. Are they running these 5-man pressures in practice because they want to, and this is the strategy, or is it because they have to? Right? I mean,
no, you're looking at a team that has they have 1-2 technique. They got Daquan Jones, and Daquan is on the other side of 30. He's older.
Correct.
They don't have any sort of gap control nose on that roster. You look at everybody they have drafted. You got Ed Oliver, slasher, TJ Sanders, slasher, Landon Jackson, motor guy. You got one dude, you got Deion Walker who you brought in, who actually, when's right, has a little bit of left and right to him. I don't think he's a pure slasher, but he can do some things. I don't know if he's really a one gap anchor type nose, but maybe they're relying on him to do that. But the fact is, you got undersized linebacker in Terrell Bernard, a safety converted to a linebacker in Matt Milano. You've got undersized dudes all over the place that are very, very athletic. So therefore, to sit there and tell TJ Sanders or Ed Oliver you're going to play B gap and hold 2 guys up is counterproductive to what they do well. Gotcha. So to me, anyway, it's refreshing that we're finally getting away from some of this, and the reports of linemen moving all over the place and everything. That's what they do.
So, Joe, the short answer is it's strategy.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I just feel
it's everything that Jerry and I and you have talked about, right? You can't play this vanilla front with the types of guys that we have. But then when you want to go out and risk something by bringing more guys, you have to make sure that the umbrella behind you are the right guys. And I think after Poyer and Hyde, I think now they might have some confidence that they have the secondary where they can do this type of stuff.
There are guys out there that need the support and that need the whatever, and there's guys that are situational and it's scheme fits and the right stuff, and then there's just dudes that are, as we like to call Josh Allen, that dude, right? Micah Parsons is that dude. I'm reminded of when Mario Williams came to Buffalo after 6 years in Houston, and he comes to Buffalo, and this signing, this signing, whatever, would be that times 10 in my opinion, because Micah's much younger. And then Mario Williams rips off double-digit sacks 3 years in a row, and they just basically let him go. Just go do your thing. And it lights Jerry Hughes on fire on the other side, too, because they couldn't stop both those guys. And Jerry Hughes was good already. And I understand what you're saying, that he doesn't really fit our scheme. But, I mean, Von Miller lived in that kind of flip-flop dual role his whole entire career. Now, I know that when he got to Buffalo, he was older, and then he got injured. And so it's not really a good, his tenure here wasn't great. To me, Micah Parsons is one of those guys that it's like, let's find out, it's worth it. But I could be wrong, right?
The other thing I'll say about Parsons is that you've got a very harmonious team in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Okay. You've got a very, very harmonious team. The locker room is good.
Yeah.
On the field's good. We have all this. We had the Diggs situation. Everybody got tired of it, wanted it to move on. Here's another guy that's once out of a place. Micah Parsons has a history of being that guy. I mean, he did not play his senior year of college. He sat out the entire year to get ready for the draft. Didn't want to, get hurt or whatever. So now he goes to Dallas. Now he wants to be traded. So here's the thing that I've always gone to, unless it's a quarterback, okay? Unless it's a quarterback or somebody of that nature. And even the Eagles will say, well, we won because of Saquon Barkley. Well, he really helped a lot, but there was that defensive and all that stuff as well. But
yeah.
I am not a dude that thinks one guy, unless he's a quarterback, is going to change the whole environment and we're going to win everything because of one dude that's going to get us over the top. I just don't agree with that.
It's hard to agree with it, but it has happened.
Okay, but with who? Tell me who.
Whatchamacallit, Peyton Manning going to Denver, won the Super Bowl.
No, he's aside from a quarterback.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I
apologize. I was reading the comments. I didn't catch that part.
Aside from a quarterback.
I would say you're probably 100% right. I can't think of a guy one guy that made I feel like there was a running back that went to a team and put him over the top. My brain is somebody in the comments will get it. But if there is one, somebody in the comments will get it. It's fun to have a conversation around it. You're probably right, Jerry. It's just, to me, I would just love to find out.
So Daniel says Reggie White to Green Bay. Micah Parsons couldn't even be in the same room as Reggie White.
Also true.
Well, hopefully not, especially now.
Reggie White Micah would be on the fourth bus and Reggie would be on the first bus by himself with maybe the GM, owner, and the head coach.
Right.
They don't even Saquon, like I said, you can say what you want about Saquon. He helped get Jalen Hurts over the top.
Yeah.
Was Saquon the reason they won the defense is what won a Super Bowl?
Yeah, the defensive line won them that Super Bowl.
And now, granted, their offense was much better with Saquon. I'm not taking anything away from Saquon.
Yeah,
or Jalen Hurts.
All right, let's shift gears here on the. It's funny because FanDuel needs to come out with the odds on where Micah Parsons is going to sign and if James Cook is going to sign with Buffalo too. FanDuel will get on that if you could.
I thought FanDuel needs odds on how often the three of us will agree on anything. That might be a.
I think we agree a lot, actually.
What's the over-under on that per show? Like 4?
Moving off to Khalil Shakir, which Khalil Shakir was hot in the comments section while we were talking about Micah Parsons. Just a lot of fear and concern over his week-to-week status as per Sean McDermott. And that wide receiver room is pretty banged up. And when you look at just the depth chart and the wide receivers we have, as I'm navigating to it, you're talking about what? Khalil Shakir is questionable and out. Elijah Moore was dealing with some leg soreness. Caden Prather is questionable. Keon Coleman is fine. Curtis Samuel, questionable. Jalen Virgil, who coach was asked about, I believe, today. Joshua Palmer, Laviska Shenault. Some of these guys are going to have to step up. They're going to get an opportunity to step up. And as much as we have pinholed or kind of put 6 guys or 5 guys kind of in place to who we think is going to make this team, there's some dudes that are going to get an opportunity to show some stuff, right?
Yeah, and that's what the preseason's for. That's why the 3 of us are going to the game on Saturday, because we're going to, like I said last night, we want to look at the depth chart from the 2s, 3s, and 4s and, just have a good time watching young guys out there living out their dream. But I think for us, with what's going on, wide receivers being a little dinged up, it does have a little bit of implication as, they're looking. I mean, they have to be looking. Guys, you don't want to come off a high ankle sprain if it takes 2 or 3 weeks and then force a guy back too soon. So there's all kinds of ramifications how quickly and how well these injuries resolve themselves. Everybody and everybody's body is different, right? So it's going to be pretty exciting.
Who are you looking for, Jerry, out of this wide receiver group? Who are you looking to see step up, if you will?
You mean from the 5, 6, 7, 8 range, or
but past the top 5, past the top 6, Jerry? Who are you going to be watching on Saturday?
I mean, the guys that I want to see I want to see Elijah Moore. I want to see guys like that. I'm not sure. Shavers, is he back? If he's back, okay, well, we'll see him. Mm-hmm. But I don't really know if there's players in the 7, 8, 9 range that are going to, this wide receiver room set unless there's IR injuries and things like that.
And that's what we're talking about. So,
and I hate to say it this way because I'm about to use the phrase, who needs it the most to have a good game Saturday? I hate to say it that way because all these guys do, right? I mean, this is their career that's in front of them, especially the ones that aren't penciled in or slated in to be roster locks. to me, if I look at this list of guys, the guy that needs to have a good game the most is Laviska Shenault with his draft status, washing out of 2 teams already, like what he brings, his skill level, his talent, his ability. Laviska Shenault needs to have like a 12-catch, 180-yard game with 2 touchdowns, in my opinion.
Well, no, I think Laviska Shenault's, a guy that does, and that's a great call, Joe. I think you're 100% correct because he's got to do something to validate keeping him on the roster as a kick returner.
Right.
Because really, when you look at that room, there's really I just don't see any other. One thing that's happened with the Hairston injury and maybe some things in the defensive secondary with moving guys around, maybe that's opening some things up, especially if they decide, hey, Hairston's not progressing like we want him to. We can put him on the IR and let him, be protected for 6 weeks, and then we can kind of, do things like that. But I just don't think there's room on this roster for just a pure kick returner. And you're right. So if Shenault wants to make his case, he's going to have to show that he can, because really think about this. We talked about this the other day on the show, where if Trey White beats out Hairston, what's Hairston doing when we play week 1? He's probably inactive.
Right.
There's no reason to have him active because he's not going to provide any special teams.
Right.
Well, of course he's going to be. I think he has to be inactive for week 1 unless his injury progresses extremely.
But I'm saying
fast.
Even if he was healthy,
beat
out Trey White,
Mhm.
you got Dane Jackson, you got others. He's not providing any special teams help. He's probably inactive.
I'm not sure Dane Jackson makes this roster.
Well, whoever, Dane Jackson,
Yeah, whoever's behind
Ricky
him.
Jackson, Michael Jackson, Jimmy Jackson, whatever,
Bills by $1 billion.
whoever. It doesn't matter.
Next man up, Jerry. Next man
Whether it
up,
be
Joe. I know you
Strong,
love that one.
Whether it
Ricky
be
Jackson, Michael Jackson,
whether
Joe Jackson.
right,
Right.
what's Andrew Jackson.
Jerry,
It don't matter.
I have a question for you, Jerry. So when you come into a preseason game, I feel like the Giants really are in a position where they have to treat this almost like a regular season game for at least 2 quarters. But if they don't, right? If it's kind of a soft approach to this game, even if Laviska Shenault has a fantastic outing, how are they grading that out? And what does it mean? Are they looking at his number of catches, number of yards, or are they looking at how he runs his routes, how he's blocking? What to you is the most important thing if the Giants don't come out and put a high pressure preseason game on? Like how do you assess talent when it's kind of a scrimmage?
You assess talent by they are doing the things they're supposed to do and making the plays they're supposed to make. And then in the process of doing those things, some natural ability comes out and they have explosive plays or things of that nature. Not putting the ball on the ground, not dropping the ball, those types of things.
We're going to learn a lot about this very topic and these questions on Tuesday when the first episode of Hard Knocks with the Buffalo Bills.
You think they have anything to talk about?
Us? Will we or they?
No, Hard Knocks. Think there's going to be anything on Hard Knocks? Think there's anything exciting to talk about with the first show?
Well, clearly James Cook standing on his business.
All I can think about.
He gave an entire episode right there.
All I can think about was the poor bastard at HBO that's doing video editing. They just flooded him today with tons and tons of B-reel James Cook in street clothes video, and he's just going, damn. He's got to redo the whole thing.
There's that. I mean, I think a lot of this is going to be the scrimmage from Friday, return of the blue versus red. I think it's going to be a big part of it, but it's going to be interesting to see. Injuries, I think, is going to be a big part of it, right? I mean, it's this injury list is long.
When I look at the Bills, you really think about this and take away the injury scenarios. They are pretty much locked set on a lot of things already. All right. You've got some things going on. I'm starting to get a little concerned about Cole Bishop. That needs to get fixed quickly. He starts missing preseason games with this quad thing. I'm a little bit more worried now. Rapp, of course, has the knee. Mm-hmm. Guys, I try to tell everybody a million times, you want to get rid of DeMar Hamlin. You're not getting – DeMar's not going anywhere. DeMar's, like I said, DeMar's the guy that they try to draft over and bring free agents in over every year, and he just survives.
Right.
You're going to see DeMar on this team this season, but other than really a couple of things, maybe the kick returner thing, how does some of the backup stuff work at the corner position because of the kick return thing and all that? Really, this is an evaluation about making sure we know what we're doing and the guys we're going to rely on, and then who are our practice squad guys going to be?
Right.
This is practice squad battles is what this is.
Yeah, they always do a very good job of getting into the finer details of people's lives, right? So getting into players' homes and around their families. So what episode, if you had a FanDuel prediction, what episode do we get our first visual of Haley Steinfeld, Mrs. Josh Allen?
I was hoping she had her own segment every week.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
The Bo Society. They have 5 minutes of Bo Society every week on Hard Knocks.
That would be great. That's a great wrinkle. They'll probably start that damn Hard Knocks with shots from the wedding.
You want to talk about it would just flood the viewership with female viewers, just like old my girl in Kansas City,
old Tyler Swift.
Taylor
Swift,
just like old Taylor.
Yeah, that's interesting. Any final topics or anything that we want to throw out there before we move on? And
no, but I just want to say, we always say, man, we got nothing to talk about. Now we're 37 minutes in. That's how it goes with you guys.
Oh, it's our fault.
You come at me, bro.
I butt in on everybody, and it's mine and Jerry's fault that we talk too long. See, Jerry, it's all our fault.
That's what I was saying, Joe. It's exactly the point I was trying to make.
But I'm going to reset that. So is there anything else either of you would like to bring up or discuss before we get out of here?
No. I'm looking forward to coming up to camp on Wednesday. I'm fired up about that. Hopefully the trainers are very, very bored because there's nothing going on. We don't need any more injuries. But yeah, we're looking forward to that and seeing the preseason game on Saturday. It'll be a good time.
I thought you were saying that, Jared, because you wanted to get a little deep tissue massage, a little therapy. Maybe you and I can get on the bikes.
I like that new, and by the way, if anybody out there sees me, I like that new Genesee, what's it called? Kolach or whatever, that kind of fruity beer. That stuff is tasty. Boys.
I just had a thought. Hard Knocks is going to be there, and a lot of times they do spots on like when former players show up. I wonder if you two will end up on Hard Knocks.
So if you see me and you
got so much weight, I look like an accountant now. They're gonna
and you wear khakis all the time.
Go get Bean's assistant. And we're gonna talk cap.
By the way, John, through my connections, I've already contacted the strength and conditioning department. We have to get up there for camp because we might have to change our tea time because you're teaching a post-practice yoga session with the team afterwards for a little cool down stretching. And so I've got you lined up. So I'm going to be drinking Genesee. I'm going to be drinking Genesee beers. I like the mango one. It's awesome. I'll be drinking Genesee beers with them.
I'll get my fake man bun ready and clip that on.
So Johnny the Stove, who cooks the books, is going to be doing yoga.
Johnny the Stove.
He's going to be cooking. He's going to be doing the cool down period, yoga cool down period.
This is the part where we swirl the drain, everybody. Just so you know.
Okay, I gotta ask. All right, before we get out of here. Chris says he spotted Haley at Nick Tahoe's. I am asking the comment section: is this true? Is this really true?
Chris Yankee, the encyclopedia, as he is known here.
Can you imagine? Could you imagine Haley just hammering down a garbage plate at like 3 a.m?
Do you think
only if she stumbled in?
Do you think she'd go with the hot links, the white hots, or the patties?
That's actually a really good point. Are we getting a garbage plate on our way out of Rochester on Wednesday before we go golfing?
That's what I need. I need a big old garbage plate and get into a hot car and drive.
No.
No, he said the answer is no. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of the Overreaction Buffalo Sports Show on the Overreaction Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. What do we got? So tomorrow, Monday, this show is being taped on Sunday. Monday, the Off Tackle with John Fina show. Tuesday, On the Beat, and we've got Dan Fates from Buffalo Plus this weekend with us.
Dan,
Or
fresh
this
off
weekend.
I think he's fresh off a golf title, isn't he?
I have no idea. Not this weekend, this Tuesday. This Tuesday, Dan Fates will be with us. And then Wednesday, you heard it here first from Jerry O. The Big O Show is going to feature Jerry and Greg Thompson from Cover One. They're going to talk all kinds of contracts and cool stuff. But yeah, good stuff. Great show, fellas. As always, had a good time talking with you guys. And thanks to everybody in the comment section. Hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. But for me, for John, for Jerry, for all of us here at Overreaction, go Bills.
Go Bills.
And as you see down in the corner, we are now presented by FanDuel. Much love. Go Bills.
Go Bills.